It is happening. INEOS is set to go for more than one midfielder, according to the latest reports, as there is now an emerging genuine interest in YOUSSOuf FOFANA. Guys, it's not done yet. Talks are ongoing between Man United and PSG for MANUEL UGARTE. There is also talk of Richard Rios still going on. My name is Webb. Here is the late night update about Man United. This one is nearly a breaking update because reports of Fofana have just taken a new twist. Before, what we're hearing was that he was close to moving to AC Milan. It was close to going there, but clearly Man United has got no respect for AC Milan. The latest is that United are willing again to hijack AC Milan's interest in Youssef Fofana, as Monaco do want the best bidder to take the player who clearly wants to move on. Like, share, and subscribe to the United Sport as we get proper into it. Now, the latest that has just coming, by the way, from Man United is concerning INEOS, and we remember what we've been talking about since INEOS was coming in, that they are going to shed off nearly 250 staff. Well, they have held meetings today. These are sources within the club who have shared this, that INEOS have held meetings with staff to inform them, those who are at risk of being laid off, to inform them about what's happening, and about 250 jobs will be lost. Remember, United now has a workforce of more than 1,100 employees. They want to cut that down to as low as 900 or 950 tops. So INEOS are already doing the work. This is how they have been planning to get the money that is going to fund the transfer window that is exciting us. So that's a developing update coming through from the club. But let's get proper into the football talk. Now, Youssef Fofana, we know, was wanted by clubs like Nottingham Forest, who placed a bid of 30 million euros only to be turned down on arrival by AS Monaco, because clearly the player wouldn't have wished to leave Monaco and join Nottingham Forest. He was waiting for a bigger club. Now, we knew that United was linked with Fofana for a long time, but they were never making bids because their plan was get a striker, get centre backs, then go to midfield, and all these other departments will fall in place. Now, it is now emerging that after United constituting their full structure and backroom staff, meetings with Dan Ashworth, the CEO Omar Berada, Christian Vivo, Jason Wilcox, they have all decided to come up with a list, and this list is increasing by the day. The list has got Manuel Ugarte, who is top on the agenda. The list, in terms of midfielders United want to bring in, the list has got Sofian Amrabat. Yes, he's still on the list. Youssef Fofana is still on the list, whereas it has been reported that he agreed personal terms with AC Milan. He remains a player of interest to Man United because it's not done until it's done. The same list has got now the young Richard Rios, who plays for Palmeiras in Brazil. So that is where we are. And what we hear is that United could bring in more than one midfielder. I hinted about this. It could even be three, by the way, because if they are planning to bring in three centre backs, why wouldn't they bring in three midfielders? They could do that. So that's what's happening. But I've told you here before. Probably I will link that video where I spoke about his abilities for Fana. I like him. I think he's a good footballer, without a shadow of a doubt. I think he's a good footballer. Is he the perfect profile to get the best out of Kobe? Perhaps not, because I think he's also gives you a lot going forward. He's a he's a bit has got the attacking instinct. He loves to be on the ball. When he wins it back, he loves to spend some time doing stuff on it, which he can do exceedingly well. He can play advanced. So he's a good footballer, but I don't see him as your typical number six who is going to come, excuse me, and sit as the number six guy. I've eaten a lot. I've been eating too much, so pardon me. But anyhow, so this guy is going to be. I think is a good footballer to add to Man United. He's a good player to add to Man United, but not without us adding on Ugarte. I think it's a proper addition to Ugarte because then he gives you a bigger depth in terms of how many positions he can play. Yes, he can play as a number six because in the event that Ugarte is not there, I wouldn't want to see Kobe dropping to six. But Fofana can ably drop there. But Fofana is also a proper competitor to start. He's a proper complete baller. Now, AS Monaco are hoping for about 35 million euros, which I believe that's less than 30 million pounds. I believe Man United should be able to cough that. If United can get him and UGARTE for maybe UGARTE can come for realistically £40 million. I believe that would be a decent business in the midfield. Or I don't know, third player, £17 million, £20 million, Richard Rios. That would be proper good business for United, and we will be spoiled for choice in the middle. So that's what exactly is happening. But United had a bid, remember, tabled verbally to PSG for Manuel Ugarte. We are still, of course, again hoping that things will move fast in this week before it ends. There are a few days now. We are getting midweek, but there is expectation that something will happen. For Mathis Delete, it's the same thing. It's still money being the issue, of course, holding us back. But the reality is, if you think about the things that are happening with the transfer market and INEOS, it is clear that INEOS had a plan. And you do recall for a long time we were questioning whether they had a plan or not. It is clear that INEOS have always had a plan, and their plan has always been to be fast in the window and sell players so that the manager has got more time to work on the players and build a good force so that in 3 weeks when the season starts, we're good to go. My feeling is that they are being slowed down by the teams we are dealing with. How then do you solve that problem? Because that's a problem to solve. Clearly, they are being slowed. And even in Sajim Ratcliffe's own admission at some point, he was slowed down by, of course, by the Newcastles who are delaying to release Dan Ashworth, by Omar Berad and the gardening leave and stuff. But now that the guys are here, now it is the clubs we are bargaining with that are slowing down the process that INEOS had planned for a long time. It doesn't look good, of course, but it's not ugly yet. I feel like it's still under control. And in all fairness, my feeling is that by mid next week, most of the players who want to sign will be done. Because if it's percentage, I think we are about 70% nearly in most of the players who want to sign. When it comes to Ugarte, we're about at 70 or 80%. Same thing with Mathis Delete. A few things to clear. I'm also certain that the other departments where I want to sign players, like the left back, the right back, if we are going to bring those players this summer, we must be somewhere. Just that we haven't really come out to give them the focus. But soon we can see that we are heading there. So my feeling is that we are not way off the pace, and whereas we are being linked with so many players into the window, and that can be frustrating to certain supporters who are impatient. It can be disappointing. You're like, how many players are we linked with before we sign one? Guys, these deals are so difficult, especially at this point in time where clubs are desperate for cash. The UEFA and Premier League rules make it difficult for clubs to buy players, but also those who have players want to get as much money as they can from them. Bayern, case in point, have spent, I think, nearly 100 and something million pounds, or euros rather. They need to be selling players to buy. They need every penny to recover the money so that they can finance their window and bring in the other players they want to bring in. So it's a unique scenario situation we are in. It's not like before where the rules were not as tight. So guys, the patience needs to be there. But I think for me, and let me even end it with this, guys. In all honesty, if Man United signed Manuel Ugarte and Youssouf Fofana, they're dead. If we could sign both, Man City, Arsenal, name them, they're dead. In 2 years, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said the plan is to knock them off their purple patch. Whoa, they are going to be knocked and they will feel the knock for good. It's crazy. This Fofana is a good footballer. The way he uses the ball, the way he's creative, he's so stylish, he's class. He's a class act. He's a proper sweet footballer. You love to watch him. I love him. He's a joy to watch on the ball. So if United can still hijack, they clearly got no respect for AC Milan. If we can disrespect them again and hijack their move for Fofana, because a player of that talent has no business going in Italy, playing in Italy. Well, it's a good league without no disrespect, but it's not the Premier League. I mean, the attention, the eyebrows are supposed to be on them. Fofana needs to be at the center of football attention, and that's in England. And trust you me, Man United would suit him if we add on Ugarte. My only disquiet would be if we only bring him and let's say Richard Rios or whoever. Ugarte should be the constant for me. And it's good that he's still on. Ugarte should be the constant for Man United, and then we can add on either Fofana or Richard Rios or both. But the constant in our transfer window is Ugarte because he's the number 6, the typical number 6 who will sit there and do the donkey work and then allow Kobe and Bruno to do the rest. That's my honest take. My name is Webb. This is the Native of Sport. We are, of course, here on the transfer tracker, and that's why we're here to come and give you every transfer update as it drops. Subscribe, like, and share, and I'll catch you later, fam.